Hey there, Vero 311, former Marine infantryman, Revolutionary War reenactor, and amateur history enthusiast. And today I want to make a video for the people out there that are looking into collecting historic military flintlock muskets or rifles or firearms of the era. And it's just going to be a short, down and dirty video of what I've learned as I've been collecting through these last few years. Hopefully, you can learn something from this and post down below if you have any experience or any knowledge or any input on what you should look for or look out for when collecting military flintlock muskets. So what I'm holding in my hands right here is a American Charleville musket made at the Harper's Ferry Armory in 1816. You also might hear this referred to as a Model 1795 or a Charleville Type 3. I'm using the word Charleville because I reference heavily Peter A. Schmidt and U.S. military muskets for my collection. I got this online for about $2,300, and if you have seen the video, you know something's wrong with it. And if you haven't seen the video, I'm going to tell you about that real quick. It's got Ohio stamped right there. You have your correct, probably won't be able to see that, but you have your correct proof marks, U.S. government stamping, you have the state of Ohio stamping, got your correct eagle and all that. The thing about this musket, though, is this is altered and incorrect. So while these were originally made as flintlock muskets, a lot of them were actually reconverted to percussion for the American Civil War. For example, here is a model of 1816, and this started off life as a flintlock and was converted to percussion for the American Civil War. And these saw a lot of, they were able to continue their service through the American Civil War. So this is how that gun looked. It was percussion, so you would have had your nipple, you would have put the cap on that, been able to fire more or less the same. It was a way for the US government to take their tens and hundreds of thousands of flintlock muskets and bringing them up to the more modern percussion system of firing. But that's what this was. And somebody along the way went and reconverted it back to a flintlock. So that is the first thing you need to look out for when purchasing historic flintlock military muskets, is that they actually, a lot of the guns you see online are reconversions. And most of the time they're pretty easy to spot. And I'll be showing you that real quick on what I've been doing to kind of spot them out. But some of them, like this, even confused me. And I knew what I was looking for. Obviously not well enough, because that's why I'm making this video. So, first things first, how to spot a reconversion. Here we are a little closer. So this is a reconversion, and things that you should be looking out for is, well, because how you're going to get your hands on a lot of these military historic firearms is through online auctions. And you're going to be going off the pictures that are provided by the auction. You can always DM the auction house. I've always found the auction houses are super easy to work with. Hopefully they should tell you if it's a reconversion. When I purchased this, I got this off Live Auctioneers. They did not tell me that it was a reconversion. I had to find out the hard way. What you're going to be looking for, we're going to be doing it lock, stock, and barrel. So the lock, you should be able to see that there's two tones to this lock, this cock, and this hammer, and then the hammer spring right there. So that would mean this all should be the same patina. So if we're looking at this original, this is also a Charleville, this is a Type 2 made in 1811. You can see that the cock, the hammer, hammer spring, lock plate, they're all the same tone of metal. The patina is the same, the oxidation is the same. It should be constant throughout the entire firearm. So this would be a unconverted original military flintlock musket. All right, yeah, now that that's a little bit more obvious, you can see that this is a replacement part, this is a replacement part, and this is a replacement part. Now, another thing to look for, I've realized, is where does the hammer go? This is a hammer, and incorrectly referred to as a frizzen in more modern parlance, but it's a hammer. And it does not go all the way forward. You can see that that spring is not, it should go almost parallel to the deck, but it doesn't because that's the timing. I don't know if there's a timing, but that is not correct for it. So we're looking at the lock. All right, so this obviously has a replacement cock, a replacement hammer, and hammer spring. The biggest things to look for come to, so that's the lock. We'll get the lock out of the way. We'll go over the stock. Stocks, when you're looking at purchasing originals, more times than likely the stocks, you should be able to see that they've aged properly. little things that you'll notice is actually this is the original stock to this gun, at least this part, is that it's pretty common to see soldiers' initials carved in. My American Revolution, my French musket from the American Revolution era has initials carved in, so that's pretty normal. You're looking for stampings, especially for American military muskets. These would be your inspector's marks, proof marks. Well, not proof marks, inspector's marks that would be on the stock shadow, the initials of the guy who looked over it, and the superintendent's final inspector's mark right there. So as you look for the stock, you want to make sure that there's no cracks, there's no holes from bugs. This stock is in general pretty good condition, but it's actually a two-piece stock. I found that out when I was taking it apart the first time. So stock's out of the way, and barrel. So that's gonna be the final part here of what to look out for. I guess it's not actually as parallel as I thought, but if we go to full cock on both of these guns, we'll be looking at them here closely. So the next thing you're gonna want to look for is on the barrel. You see how much more you can actually see of the barrel right there. It's kind of hard to do. But look at the touch hole on this barrel. You can see that's kind of corroded around the edges. You have, it should be consistent patina all the way through. That hole is a little bit rounded on the sides of the touch hole. All right, now let's look at the modern rework. Somebody came in here and did some machine work, and you can see, we'll see how perfectly circular that drill hole is for the touch hole. You can also see that there's that metal work, and then if you flip the barrel around, you can see there's a discoloration of the barrel. So somebody, there you go, you can see that discoloration. Somebody took this percussion and they reconverted it back to Flintlock. Now, there's different types of percussions, how they converted them, I don't really know off the top of my head, but I'll show you the one I have here real quick as an example. So this is my 1816 Flintlock that was converted percussion, and you can see where they just drilled, how they did this style of conversion is they just drilled out, or they sliced off the back of the breech and they put on this mechanism with the nipple right there. You could see where the hammer spring would have been here. All that just got stripped away because obviously you don't need it. And that's what they did for that Charleville in the back. So this is a conversion. This was a conversion, and now it's back to being a Flintlock, which is incorrect and not good for collecting. Probably one of the hardest things about making YouTube videos about Flintlocks is how long these guns are at. So yeah, so that is just the overview of what to look out for these reconversions. You're trying to stay away from having purchased a Flintlock that was reconverted from percussion. All right, what are some other ones you're going to run into? Here's another example of two military Flintlock muskets. Well, one's not that Flintlock anymore. Like I mentioned, this has been converted to percussion. And then this one's kind of a mystery one for me because so many of these are both model of 1816s. I guess I should preface that. Well, they're 1816 28s, but more commonly known as the model of 1816. Both were made at Harper's Ferry, one in 1836 and one in 1840. Or is it 41? It's 41. But this musket in the back, this might be actually also a reconversion. I have yet to really clarify. I know that it's supposed to have some markings at the top of the breech, and it looks like it has been worked down a little bit, but just know that a lot of the 1816s were converted to percussion. To find an original 1816 in Flintlock configuration is considered very, very rare, especially the last type that was coming out of the federal armories. But just for you, this video again was just a quick down and dirty for you, the viewer, on what to look for and what to look out for. If you guys in the comment section have any experience and things that you've learned when collecting military Flintlock muskets or just any antiques in general, please leave them down below. If you have any recommendations, also leave those down below because I am looking at learning. The best advice I could give to anybody is buy the books. The books are worth the money that you put into it. I spent a couple $100 recently on that Hall rifle book, and just having access to actual experts and all the research they've done is going to make your life so much easier. Don't believe everything you see online. Definitely don't believe everything you see in my video. Like I said, I'm not an expert, I'm just a collector. But when you go to purchase a musket from an online auction, because that's where I have found personally that's the best way you can have access to original flintlocks, is that you want to be able to know as much as you can and what to look for and what to look out for when purchasing, from making these big purchases, because these antique pieces are not cheap. And with that, I think that's just going to close out the video. Again, go over at Lock, Stock, and Barrel. Look at the lock. Make sure that there's that same patina. Look at make sure that there's no pieces that are swapped out. Look at the stock. Make sure there's no cracks in it. Or if there are cracks, or look for your superintendent's marks and all the correct markings that should be there. Look at the barrel. Make sure the barrel hasn't been reworked, where the percussion system has been, where the nipple has been removed and it's been reworked. And yeah, happy hunting when it comes to online auctions. Leave a comment down below, like I said, if you have any recommendations and or any fun stories. And until next time, take care.